My name's Angelo, and welcome to We Want Picks. This is the only channel dedicated to UFC fight picks and DraftKings lineups run by MMA insiders and professional fighters. Every week, I join Dan Kramer and Nick Newell, two longtime professional fighters that have fought at the highest levels on the planet, as well as Jacob Lyons, a skinny kid from Indiana. So join us every single week for our full fight card breakdowns, our individual fight card breakdowns, our betting guide, and our DraftKings lineups. Next up at UFC on ABC2, we have the main event between Marvin Vettori and Kevin Holland. As you know, Kevin Holland is replacing Darren Till, which kind of sucks because, as Jacob informed me, the only reason this card is on in the middle of the day is because of Darren Till and his fan base. And now Darren Till's off the card, and we're stuck with the UFC at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. With that being said, I actually think this is a much more interesting matchup than these odds will tell you. And Kevin Holland looked like absolute garbage just a few weeks ago. But the fact that he took this fight and is having a quick turnaround like this almost tells me that he understands I needed to do more. I needed to move forward. I needed to shut up in that fight. And he just wants to get back in here, prove us all wrong, and get back on that winning streak that he had in 2020. Nick, I'll let you go here. How do you see this going? I mean, do you think these odds are right that Kevin Holland really should be this big of an underdog? Or do you think, Kevin Holland had a bad night and he's very excited to show us differently?
I mean, Kevin Holland dropped Derek Brunson. He kind of goofed off a little bit, but maybe he learned his lesson, or maybe he's just going to stick to his chops and say, I'll never stop talking and just be this goofball forever, which could cost him a lot of fights. He had his heart set on moving down to welterweight, which kind of tells me he's like, whatever, I don't care if I even lose at middleweight. Like, I'm a welterweight now. And, that's probably not true, but it's something that's crossed my mind as maybe true. And then you have Vettori, who split decision to Adesanya. Great fighter. Used his grappling, I believe his last fight to get 2 fights ago to get the submission. Looked great versus Jack Hermanson in a very tough fight and should be the favorite to win. 6,600 is wild for Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland is a great fighter that's knocked out some good people and had amazing striking in the UFC. I think this is going to be a pretty close fight. Honestly, I think that it's going to go all 5 rounds and have a lot of stand-up action. But I think Vettori will just be like one step ahead with the combinations and mixing in the takedowns as well. And I'm picking Vettori for this fight, and I'm putting in my lineup.
Yeah, I think you saying it's going all 5 rounds is 100% true. I think, Vettori split decision to Adesanya. That holds up well, right? Adesanya is the champ of that division and has beat pretty much everybody in it. But, Kevin Holland, although he didn't look great against Derek Brunson, he didn't get stopped. He didn't seem close to getting stopped. He just seemed like he couldn't handle the wrestling and wasn't too excited to do much more. I will say I did watch his interview with Ariel Helwani, and he basically was like, hey, the UFC asked me to take this fight, so I took it. I was hoping for a little more of, I needed to get back in there. I needed to get that win. And to your point, Nick, if he's already decided I'm going down the welterweight, UFC needs a favor, I'll do him a favor. The headspace may be a little off there, just sort of, he sees it as a favor and a payday and less of, let me get that back right now and erase what just happened. I do have Kevin Holland in my lineup. I may change that. I'm not positive he's going to win, but Jacob had an interesting stat last time we broke down Kevin Holland, and it was, what was it? He's the most accurate striker in the history of the middleweight division.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right, sir.
Which is absurd because think about the people who have ruled that division for years. So anyway,
it's such a flawed stat, by the way. So the last fight where he got taken down hell on his back,
he threw six strikes and they all landed. 100%.
He was 4 for 6. Yeah. That accuracy.
Hey, Dan, do you know how many strikes he had in that fight, Dan?
I don't know, Jacob. We were making an analogy that your stat is stupid.
190.
Okay.
So you're saying that he doesn't throw a strike? That's the stat is slanted because he doesn't throw strikes. He threw 190 strikes.
I'm just saying, percentages doesn't mean it. You're comparing him against the rest of the division, against the guys who have beaten and won and outstruck high level opponents. I'm not saying he's not,
Silva.
Right. Like he's a very good striker, but just when you use percentages, it skews the stats. Like, would you say he's okay, so
he's
the stats,
top 10. He's a top 10 striker in the UFC right now.
Okay, maybe. I don't know. I don't
Talent wise.
No, I don't agree.
Not a
with
pure
that.
striker as talent wise, he is.
Now we're getting into all the variables. But no. So would you say that, take the stats aside, would you say that he, looking at him and his fight career, he's definitely the most accurate striker in the middleweight division?
No.
Thank you.
So Dan, you just finished your rant. I'll let you go ahead and make your pick.
Well, I couldn't let that go. All right. So, Holland, if you can't tell, listen, I think he's a great striker. He's obviously a very, very good striker, but I just think the run he had in 2020 showed that, but I'm not sold on him as a complete fighter yet. We said it last time, we picked against him. We were right. Wrestling and ground has been a problem for him, and he has that attitude. Like, he kind of doesn't really care. He's like, I'm going to go out there and do what I'm going to do. And I hear people always make, he was goofing off and he talks too much. It's like, how about he didn't learn how to wrestle, defend takedowns, or stand up? Like, the fights he's won, even some of the fights he's won, like he got taken down by Jacare twice before he landed that crazy weird hook from the bottom. His other losses, Brendan Allen taken down, Derek Brunson taken down. So it's been a problem for a long time in his career. Just on that crazy run in 2020, he got some favorable matchups where he won split decisions or starched the guy early. So I'm not going to say it's luck, but I'm not sold on him as a complete fighter yet. And just watching Vettori, on the other hand, he is a complete fighter. He is a very good striker. He's a good wrestler. He scrambles. And I'll say the difference between him and Brunson is, if Vettori's smart, first of all, I think he should just be going for takedowns right out of the gates. He's good enough to strike and stand with Holland. I don't know that he'll win a striking match against him, but he's good. Holland could catch him if they, struck for 5 rounds. But if he just goes out and shoots takedowns, even if he doesn't get it, he's going to scramble and end up on top. He's been in bad positions against other guys, and he always scrambles. He hits switches. He finds a way to end up on top. And then from there, he smashes guys and he finishes. So I think that's the big difference. Vettori, I think, has the wrestling to do it and the finishing power or the finishing abilities to put him away. So I will say, though, Angelo, I do agree with kind of the intangibles of that short notice. Don't give a crap. I got nothing to lose. Let me go out there and wing it. Sometimes that works in your favor. So it has me a little bit scared. But after watching tape, after Holland's last fight, there's no way I can not pick Vettori. From a DraftKings standpoint, it's tough because he's so expensive.
Yeah, $9,600 is a fortune. That's like a fifth of your budget.
Right. But I can't, I feel like I'm like stuck right now. I'm like, I can't not put somebody in the main event. It's a 5-round fight.
That's how I ended up with Holland. I don't think Holland wins the fight, but I can't not have somebody in the main event. And Vettori is like, that's a fifth of my entire budget.
How many points? Does anybody remember how many points Holland got last event? I can actually
53. That was going to be my point. You just stole my thunder.
53
is
okay.
Not terrible, and that was a one-sided beating.
That's what that was. I mean, that's what I'll transition straight to my point, because I think at $6,600, that's the best value you will ever see for a person like Kevin Holland. You guys say that he was dominated by Brunson, but he still scored that 53 points, and he had Brunson hurt and could have finished. I think he could have finished that fight if he jumped on him, because he had him hurt, and that 53 points isn't credited for. It wasn't really a knockdown, but he was hurt enough that it could have been a knockdown easy. So I had another 10 points at $6,600. Kevin Holland's the best value you'll ever see in DraftKings. He doesn't get finished often, and he's got the striking. I think Brunson did very good jobs of not caring about the noise and didn't get baited into whatever. I think Marvin is a guy that could get baited into striking. I think that if he uses grappling, he can definitely win the fight, but I think he can get baited into a striking match here, and I think Kevin Holland wins that. So I think Kevin Holland actually wins the fight. I have money on Kevin Holland, and he's in my DraftKings lineup.
Jacob, you need to take a breath of fresh air right now.
I mean, Dan, he just bullied you.
You
were
came out,
mid-sentence.
your beard, right? Your beard was turning more red as you were talking. You were so angry when you started that.
Dan, I lost a little respect for you, man. Jacob just came in here with those skinny legs and just straight up bullied you out of your pick. He's like, I'm up now.
Bully me out of I mean, definitely didn't bully me out of my pick. My pick is still my pick, but I will say when the beard started turning like fluorescent orange, I did get a little nervous. I thought it was like a Pokemon move or something. He's going to start doing something. But no, Jacob, I do understand your point, but Vettori should win the fight. That's my point. The big difference between those two, the 53 points he got last fight, because that is a fair call out, right? He lost the fight. He got 53 points. He's only $6,600 this week. I think Vettori has more finishing ability.
Yeah, Vettori is definitely better than Brunson. He's definitely.
I don't even know. I mean, dude, styles are a little bit different, but from a finishing standpoint, dude, he could take Holland down in the second round, and instead of riding around, grinding on him, he'll choke him out, get his back, and submit him. And there goes the 53 points. So I don't disagree that it's a good value, but I just worry that Vettori could finish the fight earlier than Brunson did. Could have.
Either way, it'll definitely be, I think it'll be a fun fight. I think it will go, as Nick said, the full 5 rounds. And anytime you have somebody like a Kevin Holland with that striking ability for a full 5 rounds, anything can happen. And I think it's actually a decent main event, even though we had some change-ups here. So I'm looking forward to it. Before you go, check out the description below. In there, we have links to our Facebook, our Twitter, our Instagram, and more importantly, to our DraftKings League. Check out the league, join the league, participate in the contests, and as we get going and as you start winning, we're going to start handing out gift cards and participating and doing things like that. So check those out. Every week, there are drops on every fight card. So make sure you check out this channel and our social media on Saturday before the fights start so that you have our most updated lineups and picks.